When was the last time you took an epic road trip? When I was in college, my friend moved to Alaska from Tennessee. 3,400 miles of 60 hours driving alone. He told us when he got to the Canada-US border that he was still not even halfway there yet. This is like driving from Paris to Dubai. I like to use the analogy of an epic road trip to describe the experience of professionals working alongside native-speaking colleagues. You've studied English for years and have 95% of the words. You've got a great job, maybe at an international company. Now that you're here, it's really obvious that you're not in English class anymore. You're working next to colleagues who are experts, not just in what they do, but how they say it. And the constant reminders of the difference between your level and theirs might make you feel out of your depths. To be out of your depths, it's an expression, which means to be in a situation or conversation that's too difficult, complex, or overwhelming to handle due to a lack of necessary skills, experience, or knowledge. You've hit the border of the next country in this car ride. You've driven for days. You're exhausted. You're proud. You've crossed a continent. But then you pull over, open the map, and realize you're still not halfway there yet. And a lot of the real challenges await you ahead. But you have everything that it takes to make it. In case you don't know me, my name is Richard, the founder of Big World English. We help professionals to build resilient global identities, own high-impact communication, and speak under pressure in English. This series is based on my book, Big World Legends. Click below and use the code episode2 at checkout to get it for free. This is chapter 2, From Paris to Dubai. First, let's notice the vulnerability of just being functional at work in English. We're going to look at my fluency balance approach to diagnose what is already strong about your English and what's weak, because you'll need to have a new orientation to get where we're going. It's a specific kind of vulnerability when you feel like you have just the minimum level of language required to do your job. At B1 in English class, people give you grace. You're a student. But here you're at work and you still have to perform. So suddenly the 2-second delay in your hesitation from your thoughts to your speech might begin to feel a little bit more expensive than it used to. It's when you're stuck in these high velocity moments where your brain is still moving 100 kilometers an hour, but your words are not coming out quite as fast. You may feel tempted to move into safer English, more predictable words. If you use something more risky, that you might fail to be precise and execute what you need to do. This safe level of English can feel like a plateau, but the problem is not exactly that you need to learn more advanced words. Your plateau is because you're using the same tools of acquisition that you have used to get this far. But it's not acquisition that you need, it's activation. The skills required to reach B2 upper intermediate English are about acquisition, learning more words. But the skills required to reach to native level performance in English is about activation of all of these words which you've already gotten. The mistake a lot of professionals make when they get to this situation is they go back to the tools which have helped them in the past. It's an app, a textbook, a conversation class, but these tools are limited and they're only going to give you a map of Paris. And you can't drive to Dubai using a map of Paris. These are 4 areas of your life where you may already find you have many strengths. But hopefully, as we look at these areas, you may diagnose your real weaknesses with English and get a clearer picture of what you need to do to get to your destination and your goal. The first area we look at to put in balance are your goals and motivations. We need to know at a deep, defined level, why English? Why this language? Is it because you want a particular future for yourself or your family or your kids? Is it because you want a higher quality of life or more opportunities? Or is it something more abstract, like you want a deeper sense of pride and self-satisfaction in yourself and enjoyment in the way that you use the language on a day-to-day basis? If it's concrete or it's abstract, you need to have a very clear idea of what those goals are. If you don't define your goals with your English, then all of the tools that you use, your classes, apps, books, all of it will be like driving without a destination. You will do a lot of practice, but arrive nowhere. Step 2, once we know your goals and they're defined really clearly, you need to build a lifestyle and environment that gives you the hours that you need to reach that goal with language progress in a natural way. So with our student community, we help them to answer 2 questions. Number 1, how many hours are you only in English during the week? And number 2, of these hours, How many of them are too easy, too difficult, or just right? Let's say that you work 40 hours per week in English, and then you have 2 hours of yoga classes in English. Then you have 3 hours of a running club that's all in English. And then you have 5 hours roughly of an international friend group that you hang out with on the weekends. But otherwise, you're speaking Farsi or Spanish. Okay, out of these 50 hours that you are in English, maybe only 5 of the hours are at the right zone of comprehensible input. What does this mean? If you spend all 50 of your hours in English, but all 50 hours are too easy, well, your English does not grow if the language experience in your lifestyle and environment is too easy. It also does not grow if the level that you're using English in is too difficult. When you're reading a book and you can only understand 80%, you're actually wasting your time. When you're watching a TV show, you only understand 85%, 90%, you're not actually growing your English, or you're growing it very slowly. To grow it in the fastest way possible, you need to be in a zone called comprehensible input. It is your level, but barely beyond it. This is the natural way that you get your first language. It feels like understanding 95%. You're getting the message, but you don't know all of the language. It's never too easy, but it's also never too difficult. Your level is slowly expanding on the horizon of your ability. Communication is challenging, but it's not overwhelming. And it can feel like an enjoyable tension once you get used to it. If you can understand me now, then you already have a good enough English level where you know what this is, what I'm talking about and describing. So if you're only spending 5 hours of your week to week in this comprehensible input zone, then only 5 hours are counting towards your growth. The typical student needs 200 hours of guided instruction to make sure that you are getting this kind of comprehensible input in order to reach that next level. So if you change nothing about this routine, you might get there in 1 year. But if you adapt your lifestyle so that you can get 15 hours per week, you can get much faster to your goal, maybe in 3 or 4 months. Third area of balance that we focus on is mindset and willpower. One of the biggest filters or blocks that can stand between you and your ability to think and speak spontaneously is actually your attitude about yourself as a bilingual and your self perception of you and your abilities. Decades of research in applied linguistics and motivation psychology tell us that your emotional experience and how you perceive that experience has a direct relationship with your ability to enjoy a conversation or to stay in the flow state in English. Your own attitude towards yourself can actually either be your greatest strength or one of your greatest weaknesses. And we include this in the fluency balance because most English courses don't focus on this area, and yet it can be one of the biggest breakthroughs that you can unlock. Finally, communication strategies is the fourth area in the fluency balance. This includes everything from not just pronunciation and listening and grammar and vocabulary. It's also about how you navigate a conversation in real time. These are things like negotiations, persuasions, giving an analytical opinion without preparation, being able to let someone go in a polite and professional way, being able to handle a Q&A without any preparation at all. A lot of the skills that I'm describing are actually things that many of your native speaking colleagues may not be very good at, but your boss's boss and the people in the C-suite definitely know a lot of good communication strategies so that they can manage the pressure of their work in real time. It's when you put all four of these areas in balance, starting with your goals, then your lifestyle and environment, then your mindset and your willpower, and then finally your communication strategies. These four areas are what will make the biggest difference in you being able to activate English that you already have in the everyday laboratory of your life and your work. To help you do this and to give you just a very simple, practical guide, in Chapter 2 of Big World Legends, there is a download called the English Fluency Confidence Plan. Click the link below to get the book for free with the code episode 2. And on Chapter 2, you will find a download that you need to work through what are the areas where you're already strong, what are the areas where you're weak, and then how can you create SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely, which means you'll see results if you follow this. So the drive to Dubai is long, but it's worth it. You have everything that it takes. But to get there, you can't just have endless conversations and nonstop Duolingo. You have to reverse engineer your destination and think smarter. And what is our destination? It's a place where language becomes invisible. You can just be yourself. I'm Richard Dalton. This is Big World Legends. I'll see you next in episode 3 on the fear of missing out and other phrasal verbs.